Now let us learn a brief overview of object-oriented programming. What is object-oriented programming? Why do we need object-oriented programming? So object-oriented program is basically a programming paradigm that is based on the concept of objects. And what are objects? Objects can be any real-world entity. It can be a bird, it can be a car, it can be your house, it can be a human being, it can be anything that has some physical presence in the real world. And when you want to represent this real physical object in the software virtually, you have to know the object, you have to think in an object-oriented way. How to think in an object-oriented way? In order to do that, you need to logically think what are the different components does a real-world entity or a real-world object has. If you think logically, you will realize that there are two different things in a real-world object. The real-world object has some characteristics, for example, some properties or some assets, and the real world entities or the objects can perform some operations. For example, a bird has wings. That's the bird's assets, or that's the bird properties. And also the bird can fly. That's the operations of a bird, or a function that a bird can perform. On the other hand, a car has wheels, a car has lights. Those are the assets of the car. On the other hand, the car can roll, or the car's light can glow. Those are the different types of operations. So whatever a real world object has, you can broadly classify them into two different categories, like either these characteristics, properties, or assets, or their operations. Now, in the virtual world, these characteristics or properties or assets are basically represented in the form of data. And the operations are basically represented in the form of either function or methods. So basically, an object is nothing but a collection of data and methods. So that's the way you should think when you are thinking in an object-oriented way.